Hello. Today we're going to be doing an ASMR reading of Number the Stars by Lois Lowry. Number the stars. Let me go ahead and read the back to you. 10-year-old Anne-Marie Johansson, and her best friend Ellen Rosen often think about the life before the war. But it's now 1943 and their life in Copenhagen is filled with school, food shortages, and then Nazi soldiers marching in their town. The Nazis won't stop. The Jews of Denmark are being relocated. So Ellen moves in with the Johansons and pretends to be part of their family. The Denmark is asked to go on a dangerous mission. Somehow she must find the strength and courage to save her best friend's life. There's no turning back now. I really hope you guys like this. Number the Stars, Lois Lowry. For more than 40 years, Yearling has been the leading name. Chapter 1. Why are you running? Why? Chapter 1. Already seated to the corner, Anne-Marie adjusted the thick leather bag on her bed so that her school books moved evenly. Ready, she looked at her best friend. Ellen made a face. No, she said, laughing. You know I can't beat you. My legs aren't as long. Can't we just walk like civilized people? She was a stocky 10-year-old, unlike he and Marie. We have to practice for the athletic meet on Friday. I know I'm going to win the girls' race this week. I was second last week, but I've been practicing every day. Come on, Ellen. Anne-Marie pleaded, eyeing the distance to the next corner of Copenhagen Street. Please. Ellen hesitated and then nodded and shifted her own rucksack of books against her shoulder. Oh, all right. Ready, she said. Go, judged Anne-Marie, and the two girls were off racing along the residential sidewalk of Anne-Marie's silvery blonde hair drew behind her, and Ellen started with Bale's past against her shoulders. Wait for me, wailed little Kirsty, left behind. The two older girls weren't listening. Anne-Marie outdistanced her friend quickly, even though one of her shoes came untied, and she sped along the street of Osterbrogade, past the small shops and cafes of her neighborhood here in the northeast Copenhagen. Laughing, she skirted to an elderly lady in the black who carried a shopping bag made of string. A young woman pushing a baby in a carriage moved aside to make way. The corner was just ahead. Anne-Marie looked up, panting, just as she reached the corner. Her laughter stopped. Her heart seemed to skip a beat. Halt! The soldier ordered in a stern voice. The German word was familiar, as it was frightening. Anne-Marie had heard it often enough before, but it had never been directed at her till now. Behind her, Ellen had also slowed and stopped. Far back, little Kirsty was plodding along, her face in a pout, because the girls hadn't waited for her. Anne-Marie stared up. There were two of them. That meant 2 helmets, 2 sets of gold eyes glaring at her, and 4 tall, shiny boots planted firmly on the sidewalk, blocking her path home. And it meant 2 rifles gripped in the hands of the soldiers. She stared at the rifles first, but finally she looked at the voice trailed away, the sentence unfinished. Don't talk so much, she told herself. Just answer them, that's all. She glanced back. Ellen was motionless on the sidewalk a few yards behind her. Farther back, Kirsty was still sulking and walking slowly towards the corner. Nearby, a woman had come to the doorway of a shop and was standing silently watching. One of the soldiers, the taller one, moved toward her. Anne-Marie recognized him as the one she and Ellen always called in whispers, the giraffe, because of his height and the long neck that extended from his stiff collar. He and his partner were always on the corner. He prodded the corner of the backpack with the stock of his rifle. Anne-Marie trembled. "What is in here?" he asked loudly. From the corner of her eye, she saw the shopkeeper move quietly back into the shadows of the doorway, out of sight. "School books," she answered truthfully. "Are you a good student?" the soldier asked. He seemed to be sneering. "Yes. What is your name?" "Anne-Marie Johansson. Your friend, is she a good student too?" He was looking beyond her at Ellen, who hadn't moved. Anne-Marie looked back too and saw that Ellen's face, unusually rosy-cheeked, was pale, and her dark eyes were wide. She nodded to the soldier. "Better than me," she said. "What is her name?" "Ellen." "And who is this?" he asked, looking at Anne-Marie's side. Kirsty had appeared there suddenly, scowling at everyone. "My little sister." She reached out for Kirsty's hand, but Kirsty, always stubborn, refused it, put it on her hands on her hips defiantly. The soldier reached down and stroked her little bite of sister's short, tangled curls. "Stand still," Kirsty and Marie ordered silently, praying that somehow the obstinate 5-year-old would receive the message. But Kirsty reached up and pushed the soldier's hand away. "Don't," she said loudly. Both the soldiers began to laugh. They spoke to each other in rapid German that Anne-Marie couldn't understand. "She is pretty, like my own little girl," the tall one said, in a more pleasant voice. Anne-Marie tried to smile politely. "Go home, all of you. Go study your school books and don't run. You look like hoodlums when you run." The soldiers turned away. Quickly, Anne-Marie reached down again and grabbed her sister's hand. Before Kirsty could resist, hurrying the little girl along, she rounded the corner. In a moment, Ellen was beside her. They walked quickly, not speaking, with Kirsty between them, toward the large apartment building where both families lived. When they were almost home, Ellen whispered suddenly, "I was so scared." "Me too," Anne-Marie whispered back. As they turned to enter their building, both girls looked straight ahead, toward the door. They did it purposely, so that they would not catch the eyes of the attention of 2 more soldiers who stood with their guns on this corner as well. Kirsty scurried along ahead them through the door, chattering about the pictures she was bringing home from kindergarten to show Mama. For Kirsty, the soldiers were simply part of the landscape, something that had always been there, on every corner and as unimportant as lampposts throughout her life. "Are you going to tell your mother?" Ellen asked Anne-Marie as they trudged together up the stairs. "I'm not. My mother would be so upset." "No, I won't either. Mama would probably scold me for running on the street." She said goodbye to Ellen on the 2nd floor where Ellen lived, and continued on the 3rd, practicing in her mind a cheerful greeting for her mother, a smile, a description of today's spelling test in which she had done well. But it was too late. Kirsty had gotten there first, and she poked Anne-Marie's book bag with his gun, and he grabbed her hair. Kirsty was chattering about as she took off her sweater in the center of the apartment. But I wasn't scared. Anne-Marie was, and Ellen too, but not me. Mrs. Johansson rose quickly from the chair by the window where she had been sitting with Mrs. Ross, and Ellen's mother was there. In the opposite chair, they had been having coffee together, as they did many afternoons. Of course, it wasn't really coffee. The mothers still called it that. They were having coffee. There had been no real coffee in Copenhagen since the very beginning of the Nazi occupation. not even real tea. The mother sipped hot water flavored with herbs. Anne-Marie, what happened? Was Kirsty talking about? Her mother asked impatiently. Where's Ellen? Mrs. Rosen had a frightened look. Ellen's in your apartment. She didn't realize he wasn't here. Anyway, anything. Anne-Marie explained. Don't worry, it wasn't anything. It was 2 soldiers on a stand on the corner of Osterbrücke. You've seen them. You know, the tall one with the really long neck. The one who looks like a silly giraffe. She told her mother and Mrs. Rosen of the incident, trying to make it sound humorous and unimportant, but their uneasy looks didn't change. I slapped his hand and shouted at him, Kirsty announced importantly. No, she didn't, Mama, Anne-Marie reassured her mother. She's exaggerating, as she always does. Mrs. Johansson moved to the window and looked down the street below. Copenhagen's neighborhood was quiet. It looked the same as always. People going from shops, children at the play, soldiers on the corner. She spoke in a low voice to Ellen's mother. They must be edgy because of the latest resistance incidents. Did you read in the Free Danske about the bombings in Hillerød and Nordboro? Although she pretended to be absorbed in unpacking her school books, Anne-Marie listened, and she knew that her mother was referring to Die Franke Danske, the Free Danes, in a legal newspaper. Peter Nielsen brought it to them occasionally, carefully folded and hidden among ordinary books and papers. Mama always burned it after she and Papa read it. But Anne-Marie heard Mama and Papa talk, sometimes at night, about the news they received. News about sabotage against the Nazis, bombs hidden and exploded during the factories that produce war materials and industrial railroad lines, damaged so that good could not be transported. And she knew what the resistance meant. Papa had explained when she overheard the word and asked the resistance fighters were Danish people. No one knew who, because they were very secret and could be determined to bring harm to the Nazis however they could. They damaged the German trucks and cars and bombed their factories. They were very brave. Sometimes they were caught and killed. I must go and speak to Ellen, Mrs. Rawson said, moving towards the door. You girls walk a different way to school tomorrow. Promise me, Henry. And Ellen promised too. We will, said Mrs. Rawson, but why does it matter? There are German soldiers on every corner. They will remember your faces, Mrs. Rawson said, turning the doorway to the hall. It's important because to be one of the crowd. Always be one of many. Be sure they never have a reason to remember your face. She disappeared into the hall and closed the door behind her. He'll remember my face, Mama, Kirsty, and asked happily, because he said I look like his little girl. He said I was pretty. If he has such a pretty little girl, why doesn't he go back to there just like a good father? Mrs. Johansson murmured, stroking little Kirsty's streak. Why doesn't he go back to his own country? Mama, is there anything to eat? Anne-Marie asked, hoping to take her mother's mind away from the soldiers. Take some bread and give a piece to your sister. With butter? Kirsty asked hopefully. No butter, her mother replied. You know that. Kirsty sighed as Anne-Marie went to the bread box in the kitchen. I wish I could have a cupcake, she said. A big yellow cupcake with pink frosting. Her mother laughed. For a little girl, you have a long memory. She told Kirsty there hadn't been any butter or sugar for cupcakes in a long time. A year at least. When will there be cupcakes again? When the war ends, Mrs. Johansson said. She glanced through a window down to the street corner where the soldiers stood, their faces impassive beneath the metal helmets. When the soldiers leave,